Microsoft Copilot AI was a huge failure across its cloud and non-cloud platforms.
Copilot is everywhere. But nobody wants it.
Copilot was supposed to change how we use computers. An AI built into your PC, one that could write your emails, analyze your data, even do work for you. Microsoft didn't call it an upgrade. They called it the next era of computing. But after billions of dollars and one of the most aggressive rollouts in tech history, most people just ignore it. And the deeper you look into why, the more uncomfortable the answer becomes. If you're new here, this channel is about understanding the decisions, the hidden strategies, and the turning points behind the world we live in. If that's your kind of story, consider subscribing. Now, let's get into it. To understand what went wrong, you have to understand what Microsoft already had. This isn't a company trying to break in. Microsoft already had its own systems. Windows, Office, Teams, Outlook. The software millions of people open every single day, whether they like it or not. And under Satya Nadella, Microsoft had already pulled off one of the biggest turnarounds in tech history. They moved everything to the cloud. They turned subscriptions into a machine. So when Nadella said AI would be the next platform shift, people didn't question it. They assumed Microsoft would win it, because this time they weren't just adding a feature. They were trying to replace the way you interact with your computer entirely. No more menus, no more searching, just ask. And for a moment, it actually looked like it might work. But that wasn't the real test. The real test came when people started using it. The vision was simple and enormous at the same time. AI wouldn't just be a feature, it would be the interface. The way you'd interact with your computer, your documents, your data. Not menus and clicks and drop-downs, but a conversation, a collaborator. Something that worked with you the way a talented colleague might. Nadella called it the new era of computing. He compared it to the arrival of the personal computer, the internet, the smartphone. Not an upgrade, a reinvention. And Microsoft had the perfect delivery mechanism. They didn't need to convince anyone to download something new. They already lived inside the software billions of people used every single day. Windows, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams. They could wire AI directly into the tools people already relied on and call it Copilot.
Hey Copilot.
Hey Copilot.
Hey Copilot. Show me how to sync my holiday lights to my music.
Let's walk through it together.
Hey Copilot, why are we so far behind?
Toy assembly has declined due to hot cocoa consumption.
Are you talking to your computer?
When it launched, the demos were genuinely impressive. You could ask Copilot to draft an entire project proposal from a few bullet points. You could ask it to summarize a week of emails in 30 seconds. You could describe a data set in plain English and watch a chart appear. For anyone who'd spent years fighting with spreadsheet formulas or staring at a blank document, it felt like magic. But that's where expectations started to drift away from reality. The press went wild. Enterprise clients started signing up for early access. Microsoft's stock climbed. It looked for all the world like Nadella had done it again. But something was already off. The first signs came from the companies that had signed up earliest. These were sophisticated businesses, banks, consulting firms, technology companies. They had the resources to roll out Copilot properly. IT teams, training programs, dedicated budgets. And many of them did exactly that. They ran pilots. They tested it across departments. They gave employees time to learn it. And then they waited for the results. What came back was not what the demos had suggested. Users found that Copilot was good, sometimes very good, at certain things. Generating a first draft, pulling a summary, finding a document. But those weren't really the hard parts of the job. The hard parts, the nuanced judgment, the multi-step tasks, the things that actually cost people hours, Copilot kept stumbling on those. There's a specific complaint that came up again and again. People would ask Copilot to do something, and instead of doing it, it would explain how to do it. You'd ask it to send a follow-up email, and it would tell you what a good follow-up email should include. You'd ask it to fix a formula, and it would walk you through the steps you'd need to take yourself. It wasn't an assistant, it was a manual. And that frustration kept spreading. Adoption numbers started telling a different story. One widely cited survey found that fewer than 10% of Microsoft 365 users were paying for Copilot. Internal data pointed to an even more uncomfortable truth. Even among the companies that had purchased licenses, usage was thin. Employees weren't avoiding Copilot because they hadn't heard of it, they'd tried it and moved on. Pilot programs stalled at the pilot stage. Enterprise rollouts got quietly deprioritized. And somewhere in the middle of all this, something revealing started happening at Microsoft itself. Employees were quietly using ChatGPT and Claude for tasks where Copilot should have been the obvious choice. That wasn't supposed to be possible. There's a version of this story where Microsoft takes that feedback and quietly retools, where the product team goes back to the first principle, figures out where the experience is breaking down, and builds something genuinely different. That's not quite what happened. Instead, the frustrations with Copilot started compounding in ways that felt personal to the people experiencing them. Considering a marketing manager at a mid-sized company, someone who adopted Copilot early, who went through the training, who genuinely wanted it to work. She'd ask it to draft a campaign brief. It would produce something generic, something that read like it had been written for no particular industry and no particular audience. She'd ask it to pull data from a report. It would sometimes find the right numbers. Sometimes it wouldn't. And occasionally, most frustrating of all, it would confidently present something that was simply wrong. The trust eroded quickly, not with a dramatic failure, but with 100 small ones. And the thing about trust is that once you've lost it, you don't just stop using a tool. You stop believing the category. People who'd been disappointed by Copilot became skeptical of AI assistants generally, at least for real work. They kept it around for the occasional summary or draft, but for anything that mattered, they went back to doing it themselves, or they quietly opened a different browser tab. That tab wasn't pointed at Microsoft, and that's the moment Microsoft lost control. By the time it became clear that organic adoption wasn't going to reach the numbers Microsoft needed, the company faced a choice: pull back and rebuild, or push harder. They pushed harder. Price increases began rolling out across Microsoft 365 tiers. In some regions, the cost went up significantly, and the upgrade included Copilot whether users wanted it or not. It stopped being a premium add-on and started becoming a part of the base subscription. The opt-out became harder to find. For some businesses, removing Copilot from their package meant moving to a lower tier and losing features they actually used. That's when the conversation shifted. Here's the thing about Microsoft that's easy to forget. They've done this before. Not with AI, but with basic strategy. When Microsoft shifted to the cloud, when Office became Microsoft 365, when Teams replaced Skype for business almost overnight, each of those transitions felt, to many users, like something that was being done to them rather than for them. Prices went up. Alternatives got harder to use. The lock-in got deeper. And it worked. Microsoft 365 is now one of the most successful subscription businesses in history. The theory inside Microsoft, at least as it appears from the outside, is that AI is just the next version of that playbook. If you can establish Copilot as the default AI layer for enterprise computing, you don't need everyone to love it on day one. You just need them to use it. You just need them to stop looking anywhere else. Familiarity follows. Dependency follows. And once a company's workflows are built around Copilot, switching costs make every alternative painful. This is what makes the Copilot story more than just a product stumble. It's a window into how Microsoft thinks about the future of computing itself and who gets to control that future. Because Copilot, in Microsoft's vision, isn't just an assistant. It's the new interface. The layer between the user and everything else. The place where work gets done, where data lives, where decisions get made. If Microsoft can own that layer, the way they owned the operating system in the 90s, the downstream implications are enormous. More subscriptions, more lock-in, more data, more leverage. The only problem is, users aren't playing along. Because what Microsoft may have underestimated is how much the AI moment changed user expectations. In the pre-Copilot era, enterprise software was tolerated even when it was frustrating, because there wasn't a better alternative. But now, there is. The same employee who finds Copilot underwhelming has ChatGPT on their phone, has Claude in a browser tab, has a dozen other tools that cost $10 a month and don't require an enterprise agreement. The comparison is no longer between Copilot and nothing. It's between Copilot and something that people genuinely like using. And that's a harder gap to close by raising prices. So where does that leave us? Copilot was supposed to be the thing that made AI real for the average office worker. Not a toy, not a research project, a genuinely useful integrated part of how professional work gets done. And for some users, in some contexts, it is that. There are people who swear by it for specific tasks, teams that have built real workflows around it, companies that have seen genuine productivity gains. But those aren't the headlines. The headlines are low adoption numbers, stalled enterprise rollouts, and a product that keeps finding its way into people's subscriptions whether they asked for it or not. The question worth sitting with is this: is Copilot a product that just needs more time? A rough draft of something that will eventually be extraordinary? Or is it a signal of something more structural? A hint that Microsoft's instincts, so reliable for so long, may be slightly out of sync with what this particular moment actually demands. Because what people want from AI isn't an upgrade to existing software. It's a new kind of relationship with technology, something that feels less like a feature and more like a collaborator. Something you choose because it helps, not because it's shipped pre-installed. Microsoft built Copilot to be everywhere. They may have forgotten to make it indispensable. And in a market where people now have a choice, that might be the only mistake that matters. In retrospect, stories behind the decisions, secrets, and turning points that shape our world.